Hi everyone, my name is Evie. What I have for you today, I'm going to make the pastelillo dough or empanada dough, and I'm going to actually make the empanadas and show you how I make my meat. But for this dough, you can use it any way you want. You can actually use any meat of your choice. You can do chicken empanadas, beef, pork, whichever one you want. But not only that, you can also do sweet ones, okay? You can buy pie filling, strawberry, cherry, blueberry, apple, whichever one you want, and you can make this also a sweet, okay? So let's get started with the ingredients. Just so you know, I'm going to be using my stand mixer. It's going to be kneading for like 7 to 10 minutes. If you do this by hand, you'll be kneading from 10 to 15 minutes because we want a nice soft dough, okay? Okay, for the ingredients, there's going to be 3 cups of flour, teaspoon and a half of salt, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1/3 cup of lard. This is lard. You can use the Crisco brand. You can use Crisco that has butter flavor or any lard of your choice, okay? So you need a 1/3 cup of this. Now, for the meat, so I don't want to confuse you, I'm going to use a packet of 1 pound of ground beef. I like the 85/15. It has better taste. 3 tablespoons of sofrito. Sofrito is red pepper, green pepper, cilantro, a little bit of onion, and like 2 cloves of garlic. So you would, if you don't have it made, you could use 1/4 of each pepper, the red and green, 2 cloves of garlic, a handful of cilantro, and a little tiny piece of onion. I'm going to use half can of tomato sauce, half packet of sazon, and I'm going to use, adobo to season. If you do not have adobo, use salt, pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. That's all you need. So let's get started. By the way, I'm also going to use a really hot cup of water for this. This does not contain yeast or anything, so we will not be letting it rest like if you would for bread. But I will let it rest for half hour to 45 minutes while I cook the meat. By the way, you're also going to need a rolling pin to roll out our dough when it is ready. Here I am. I'm going to add 3 cups. You don't have to sieve it or anything. Make sure it's just 3 cups right here. Let me tell you, the first time I ever ate a pastelillo was from my aunt. And I saw her make this dough. I never knew how she made it. I knew it was flour, salt, water. I just didn't know you had to add lard to it or even a little bit of baking powder. But she was the first person I saw make it and ate it from her. My mom never made this for us. I don't know if she didn't know how to make it or she just didn't like to. I don't know what's the story there, but I learned it from I learned it from her, but I saw it from my aunt. And I never ate another pastelillo until I ran away from home. My mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law, God rest her soul, she she never made it. She wasn't much of a cook ever, but she used to buy the disc that you can get now at the store, but they only give you 10. I don't know how they messed around with the formula, but they did, and it's not good anymore, so making it yourself is better. I have a teaspoon. I just want to go and get it, so I'm just going to add it like this. Yeah, so I never had another pastelillo or anything else like this until I was 15 or 16 when I took off. So now I make it myself, and it tastes way, way better than the ones you buy from the store. They're delicious. By the way, make sure yours is room temperature because I totally forgot to take it out of the fridge. And of course it's hard. But you can still make it with, your lard cold. I think a lot of people actually do like it that way. But, okay, I'm going to measure what I did was 1/3. It's kind of hard to do that. But if you leave yours soft, it's even better. By the way, this is basically the same dough that you use to make flour tortillas, okay? So if you have some left over, some dough balls, and your meat's done, you can make tortillas. That's what I did for my husband last week. So that is that. All the dry ingredients are there. What I'm gonna do while this is spinning, put it on soft first. And you don't want flour everywhere. And then what you're gonna do, you're gonna run it on high for at least a minute. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a cup of water and I'm gonna put it in the microwave because I need it to be hot. It doesn't have to be boiling, but it has to be hotter than what your tap water, your hot water from the tap comes out. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna leave this going and I'll come back to show you how I mix everything. Guys, what I'm doing is I had it running, but since my lard was, my microwave just stopped. Since the lard was cold, look at it, still has big chunks in here. So what I'm doing is I'm coming in with my hand and breaking up the lumps. You want it to look like wet sand, okay? I'm just getting the lumps that are big. If they're small ones, it doesn't matter. We're adding the really hot water to it, so it'll melt it down. But the other ones were just really big. And I got a little bit of flour on my counter. That's not a bad deal because we're gonna roll out our dough later. See the big pieces? Yeah. Okay. So I'm done with that. Bring it down and lock it in. I'm gonna rinse my hands and I'm gonna get the water. Okay, everyone, I already have my hot water. Okay, I'm gonna put this on low and add it slowly. And there it is. Now I'm gonna put this on high for 7 to 10 minutes, and then I'll be back. You can use a spatula to bring down the sides if it's getting hard for the dough to catch it. Okay, guys, I did my 10 minutes. What you're gonna do now is, of course, walk it. I'm gonna grab this. I have some extra flour that I'm gonna sprinkle on here. You'll see. I'm gonna take this out. And by the way, it's not sticky on your hands. So if it's a little sticky, well, this is what the flour is gonna be here for. So I'm gonna put it right here and let me get rid of this and I'll be right back. So a little bit of flour on your board, and you are just gonna knead this like for about a minute or two. I already have this really nice soft dough. See? Really nice and soft. So I'm just giving it a quick knead right here, and again, of course, wearing dark clothes when I'm dealing with flour. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. What I have here is a bowl. You don't need to grease it or nothing. We're gonna make the little balls. So this is how I do it. You're just gonna grab your dough, and whatever you grab from here, you can make them big or small. I don't want them too big, so this will be like a medium size. If you want them all to be the same, get a scale and weigh them to weigh the same. I don't know what amount to tell you because I always do it by hand. But you can grab as big or as little as you want, okay? And we're just gonna roll them and just put them in here. This one's a little smaller. I think I like it smaller. They're not gonna be twins. You're gonna have different sizes, but you more or less know by the squeeze. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep doing this until I am done with my dough, and then we're going to the stove to cook the meat while this rests for at least 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes. That's how I did it the last time, and it came out perfect. You don't want to start stretching them right away because this this dough right here is gonna bounce right back. You don't want that. Okay, so just keep squeezing. Like a golf-sized ball, maybe just a tad smaller. But just like that, okay? So I just finished rolling out my little balls, and I got 28 of them, okay? And these are medium size, like the ones you buy at the store. So now we're gonna put a little baggie over this and just let them rest. Like I said, for 30 to 45 minutes. I'm leaning more to the 45 minutes. That's how I did it the last time. And yeah, so you get the air out. And there you go. Now we're gonna go to the stove to make the meat. Guys, I forgot to show you before you put them in the bowl. I have these two left. You take each one and you just put it on the surface and you put a little bit of pressure on it, but you roll it, make sure your thumbs are in, like trying to form that circle for a few seconds. And then you have smooth dough. And then you put them all in here, okay? Then you cover them and let them rest for the 45 minutes. Okay, so for my meat, I want it to be loose. I don't want it to have little chunks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add half a cup of water to my pan. This is gonna make your meat really, really loose, okay? And then I'm gonna add my pound of beef. And then have it on medium high. I'm gonna break this apart. I'm gonna season it with just the adobo. If you don't have adobo, like I said, salt, pepper, garlic, and onion powder. If you don't have the garlic and onion powder, you're good with just salt and pepper. For real, because you're gonna add sofrito to it. So I'm gonna break this down really good. Remember I said loose meat. Then I'm gonna cover it up on low for the next 20 minutes. Then I'll put it back on high and I'll add all the other ingredients. If you've done ground beef and it's always too chunky for you, this is the best way to do it. When you add the water, it loosens everything up. And for the empanada, this is how I want it to be really nice and loose. I'll show you when it's done. I'm gonna add the adobo. I do this without measuring. I've been cooking most of my life, so you can add about a teaspoon of this, okay? You will be tasting it for seasoning later on anyways, when you add all the other stuff. Guys, this is what I mean about loose meat. There is nothing, no big chunks in here. So, I had it on medium. Now I'm going to put it on low, super low. Not the lowest, but really low. I'm going to put a lid on it. And I'm going to let all this water evaporate. That's going to make it nice and tender because it'll be cooking. And then when I start to hear frying action is when I'm going to add all my stuff. If it has too much grease, too much fat, I will drain some of it off, okay? But for now, this is where I'm going to be frying them. So I'm going to put the lid on this and I'm going to let it go, like I said, for 20 minutes. I'm going to set my timer and then we'll be back. Here I am, guys, checking the meat. The water there's still some water that still needs to be evaporated. So I'm just going to let it cook off open so it can evaporate faster. I tasted my meat. This is the time you want to taste it for flavor. And it has good flavor and I taste it for texture so it's soft. But I do need to add a little bit more of adobo. It didn't need that much, so what I wanted to tell you was if you guys want, you can add potatoes to this. It does come with potatoes, but I like mine to be just meat. But if you want, dice them really small, and when you cover it up, that's when you add your potatoes. So as soon as I start getting frying action, I will add the stuff. Okay, so most of the water evaporated. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of sofrito, like I said. 1/4 of red pepper, 1/4 green pepper, 2 cloves of garlic, handful of cilantro, and a little sliver of onion. There it is. There's still very little bit of water in there, it's fine. Just gonna have this cook off anyways. We're gonna cook this off for another 10 minutes once I add everything else because this has to cook off. If not, it's not gonna have good flavor. Smells so good in here. Okay. I'm gonna add a little, one more. Not that full. Remember, all these flavors are to your liking. You can add any spices that you like. I'm actually gonna add a little bit of cayenne pepper just to give it a little bit of heat. Not much, but some. We're gonna add half a packet of sazon. You want color. I don't add the whole packet because your tomato sauce will also add color. But if you want, add the whole packet. You just want that sazon to be well incorporated. I'm going to add half of a can of tomato sauce. Then I'll give it a good mix. That's about half here. Give that a good mix. We're cooking this on high. We want the tomato sauce to cook off and some of that little bit of water that was left in there to completely evaporate. And then after we do this, we're going to shut it off once it's done. And we're going to let this cool off on another, you can take it off the stove because you do want it to heat up, cool off. You do not want to add this hot to your stove because it's going to break your dough. Okay, you see, now this is what it's supposed to look like. I think I want a little bit more color, so I'm going to packet of sazon. There it is. And there's more color. Like I said, cooking this off. Just give it 5 minutes to cook up the tomato sauce and evaporate, because you can already tell it's got frying action. The water has evaporated. And I did not drain any of the fat yet. Okay, later we'll leave the saucepan, the frying pan, if it didn't have a lot of fat, then you don't have to drain anything. And mine doesn't look like it left too much fat, so I just might leave it like this. But if not, I'll show you how I do it with a paper towel. Okay, we're going to stop moving, let it cook for 5 minutes, and we'll be back. And put this on a medium high. Frying action has started. What I want to show you, look, I go like this. My meat didn't drop a lot of fat, so I'm not going to take anything out. I want it to be a little saucy. You do not want it to be runny, because when you make your empanadas and you fry them, it's going to start popping and probably cause a grease fire or something. So I'm just going to shut it off. I'm going to push it to the back burner. I'm going to leave it uncovered. Push it to the back burner and let this cool off for at least 15 minutes. Hey guys, I already put some in a little plate for me, so I don't have to keep running from the stove to my counter. What I want to show you is I pressed all the meat to the back. That's a little bit of liquid and a little bit of fat. If you want, just put a paper towel on here. Mix it around with your paper towel. I've seen a few people do like this in videos, and it makes sense. Or pour it out in your sink, and you can get problems with your pipes. And then just throw it in your garbage. And it's done. So I already took like half of this, put it in a plate so we can start building in a little bit when it cools off. Okay everyone, here's the setup. It's kind of dark because we're having a cloudy day, but I'm only gonna make 3 to show you. You want to keep these covered. So what you want to do is you want to put them in flour. I'm using the same lid for the jar where I have my flour. And then you just want to sprinkle a little bit right here on your counter. And remember when I was making flour tortillas, I couldn't make a round shape to save my life. So I started making the pastelillos, and guess what? They're semi-round. Can you guys see? And what I want to tell you, this is a thin dough. So when you fry them, you want to cook them on a medium low. Because since it's thin, you're just going to burn it if you do it on a higher setting. Only fry them or make them as you're going to eat them, because I made the mistake and then the flour gets too sticky and it's not worth it. You can put the rest of the balls in the fridge if you're going to use them right away. If not, you can also put them in the freezer and just use them as you go. Take them out as you go. Just take them out early so they'll be defrosted by the time you're going to use it. So that is that. I'm going to actually put it on top of a piece of parchment paper. I know it's not completely round, guys. I never get completely round anything, so that's okay. I'm going to put meat in here. Put as much as little as you want. Just remember, do not overstuff. This is enough for me. Like I said, I'm going to make 3. And then just pinch your edges. We're not trying to have anything come out. And then you're just gonna, I like the paper because that way I don't have to go into any weird, put my arms in different positions. So, and there it is, guys. A very nice, it's very soft dough. So yeah, that's what it's gonna look like. I'm putting it here on a plate because I'm not gonna, I already have a sink full of dishes with everything I'm doing. So that's how that's working. Let's do one more. I'm gonna make this flat, put it in the flour. Any excess, there you go. Does anybody know how to make a beautiful circle for this? Because I don't. And the dough is rested. I rested it for like 45 minutes. So it doesn't bounce back so much. It has a little bit, but not so much. But if you were to do it right away, then that's where your problem would be, because you wouldn't be able to stretch it out much. It would, I'm not saying you can, but you would be doing this forever. Look. They're kind of round, guys. I am so proud of myself. You can also add flour to your pinwheel, to your rolling pin. Wow. Can you see the dyslexia there? Okay. After this one, we are going straight to the frying pan. Like I said, I'm going to make 3. Pinch your edges, guys. Pinch your edges. We don't need anything coming out to your oil that's going to make it pop and burn you in the face or something, you know. And this dough is just so soft, so beautiful to work with. And there it is, guys. Another little empanada, okay? So let's go to the stove. If you have leftover flour, the best thing to do is add it to your parchment paper and then just add it to your bowl like this so that you don't have a big mess, okay? Okay, so I have my oil in medium low. As soon as you feel a little bit of heat, you can start to add your empanadas. Like I said, I made 3. I made this one with less meat. I don't like too much meat. Have a little bit of bubble. You're good. Got frying action. And these fry up beautifully too, guys. Nice and crispy. Okay. So that's how that's looking. And once you see that it has a little bit of color in the edges, look at that. Beautiful. Be careful not to break your dough. I'm going to show you what they look like at the plating. So I already flipped them the first time. I'm going to flip them one more time. You don't want them to get too dark. A little maybe darker than this, or just 1 more minute on each side and you should be good, okay? You're just trying to make sure that your dough is nice and cooked. And it is because, like I said, I made it really thin. But you can see this right here. It needs a little bit of cooking here. Wherever it looks like it needs it, that's what I'm saying. Just 1 more minute on each side, you should be good. So this is as dark as I'm going to want mine. Then I'm going to put them on a paper plate. Yes, I'm going to eat on a paper plate. On a paper plate, because guess what? I already have a whole bunch of dishes from doing this that I want to wash. I'm not trying to add anything to it. I can leave it on the side for a little bit just to cook off that little bit of dough. Of course, you could fill your pan higher so that it covers that. I just used the oil that I already had because I had already made these. And guess what? Everybody loved them. Oops, there it goes. Let's go try it. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Delicious. I made this one smaller because I didn't want that much meat on it. But let me show you. They're like the size of my hand, so they're pretty big. Oh, super hot. If you want, let them cool off for a few minutes, because when you eat them, bite into it, it's going to let out a lot of steam and you can get burnt. But if you leave them out too much, you know, to cool off, then the dough doesn't stay crispy, okay? So you're better off eating them out. You already know a nice cold Diet Coke, the small ones. Let's try this. I'm excited about it. It's nice and fluffy. Delicious. These taste, I'm sorry, they're super hot. They taste delicious. Like when you go to a restaurant and you get the homemade ones. Exactly what it tastes like. It's so good. Way, way better than when you bite the disc. The disc, they add so many ingredients. And it kind of has a little bit of soury flavor that I don't like. I'm not a fan of, and neither is Lisa. Oh yes, guys. Delicious. And crunchy. Guys, I hope you try this recipe. If you do, leave me a comment, because I want to know how yours turned out. The amount of salt was perfect for the dough, 1.5 teaspoons. That was perfect. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't. It's just right on point. So if you guys like this video, don't forget to give me a like. Don't forget to share. Guys, I will catch you in the next one. I will be making the cake. I know I was supposed to, but I've been busy. I've been buying furniture, okay? So catch you in the next one. Love you. God bless. Take care. Bye.